Now today we're talking about the man whose photograph you see right here, William Emmanuel Kojo Abraham, a Ghanaian philosopher and an educator. He was born today, my brother, my sister, the 28th of May in 1934. In fact, 1934. 1934. He was more than 20 years the junior of Kwame Nkrumah, but he became Kwame Nkrumah's very close young friend. At the time of the independence of Ghana, the young man here, my brother, my sister, was how old? 22 and a half years old. But he was Kwame Nkrumah's very close friend. He was born in Cape Coast, my brother, my sister, on the 28th of May in 1934. And he attended school at the government boys' school. Right after that, he went to Adisadel Secondary School, as it was called then in Cape Coast, Ghana. He was a Fanti. He obtained a Bachelor of Arts degree from the University of Ghana, graduating with a first-class honors in philosophy. In 1957, he was only 22 and a half years old, my brother. In 1957, he had finished university with the first-class honors. Listen to this interesting thing. Because of his brilliance, he caught the attention of Kwame Nkrumah at independence. But he had to travel to England to further his studies. He went to no mean school than the great Oxford University. He received a B.Phil and was the first African to be elected a Fellow of All Souls College in 1960. Oh my God, have mercy. He was only about 25 years old, getting to 26. He was nominated to be a governor of the School of Oriental and African Studies at the London University. A young man. He decided that enough was enough with the West. He returned to the beautiful country Ghana in 1962. And he joined the University of Ghana, his alma mater. Oh gosh. He joined the Department of Philosophy. And when he joined, immediately he published a book. He was an astute writer who had a unique style of writing. William Emmanuel Kojo Abraham. So many people simply called him Kojo Abraham. My brother, my sister. Because he was born on a Monday, just like me. Monday, the 28th of May, 1934. Watch this. Now, he wrote a book, and the book was published. The title was The Mind of Africa, a philosophical work arguing for Pan-Africanism. Hey. Immediately, that same year, getting into the next year, he was elected Vice President of the Ghana Academy of Arts and Sciences. Hey! So young. At that point, he was 29 years old. In that capacity, he visited scientific facilities in the Soviet Union in the 7-week tour of the summer of that year, 1963. When he was 39, he became a close associate of Kwame Nkrumah, who had been admiring him from afar. And then Nkrumah one day called him and said, you know what? With your knowledge in philosophy and the fact that you are so smart, he and Nkrumah spoke Fanti. Hey, Nkrumah said, I want us to collaborate on a book that I'm writing. And he asked Nkrumah, what's the title of the book? And Nkrumah said, well, I'm still playing with the title. I intend to call it The Consciousness of Africa. And I know that you wrote a book called The Mind of Africa. And immediately, our hero for today said, why don't we call it conscientism? Nkrumah laughed and said, Awe pe abrofwa kesi, Brofo akese about any conscientism. Brofo abode. Brofo abode. Ebe Kojo. Hey, conscientism about any conscientism. They laughed over it, but it finally became the title of the book. Now, the initial thing was that they were going to collaborate. Nkrumah brought his initial ideas. But Nkrumah got so busy. He had written so many books at the time. But as president, he was so busy doing other things. Remember, from that time, 1964 onwards, it was a very, very tumultuous time for Nkrumah. That was when the bombs were flying all over him. People wanted to kill him. He didn't have time to really sit on the book. And anytime our hero for today, Emmanuel Kojo, called him, Nkrumah said, hey, that book, can we finish this book at all? That's a book, Nkrumah friend then, or the conscientism. Kojo, no. Emmanuel Kojo, a pebble body. So Kojo refused to call Nkrumah from that time. He sat on the book, finished the book, and when he called Nkrumah, Nkrumah said, hey, I hope you are not calling me to talk about that book again. No. He said it's about that book, but this time around, it's a different story. I have finished the book. Nkrumah said, hey, bring it and let me see. The book got to Nkrumah's table. Nkrumah read it over and over. It was published that same year in 1964. This is the book. Conscientism, Kwame Nkrumah, Philosophy and Ideology for the Decolonization and Development with particular reference to the African Revolution. It's almost like a thesis. The young boy celebrated his 30th anniversary, 30 years, with this book. Nkrumah was so happy. But people who read the book realized that the grammar was not Nkrumah's grammar. It was not even the style Nkrumah wrote his books, even though it was credited to Nkrumah. Somebody like Ama Baini. How many of us remember Ama Baini? Ama Baini is a very special character in Ghanaian history. She was born somewhere in the 1960s. Is a British Ghanaian historian, journalist, and a political scientist and academic who for more than 25 years has lectured and taught courses on African and Caribbean history, the history of black people in Britain, and on international relations. Yes, on international relations in the UK and Ghana. She is a Ghanaian, Ama Baini. In fact, Ama Baini is British Ghanaian. She wrote and stated it clearly. There is considerable speculation that Nkrumah was not the writer of this book, and rather Professor William Abraham was instead the author. The impenetrable style of writing is unlike that of Nkrumah's other more accessible books. This was what Ama Baini said, and it was true. This is Ama Baini. She's still alive. Our hero for today is also still alive. Nkrumah identified this man as a philosopher. And in Nkrumah's days, he was called Nkrumah's court philosopher. He taught for Nkrumah. He and Nkrumah sat down over tea, even though several years younger than Nkrumah. In fact, more than 20 years younger than Nkrumah. Abraham was arrested in 1966 when the coup d'etat happened against Nkrumah. In the days of Joseph Atta Ankara. But when he was released, he immigrated to the United States, where he still remains, teaching in academic positions at Blakk College and the University of California, Santa Cruz, where he's currently a professor emeritus of philosophy. My brother, my sister, he's written several books. He wrote his first book in Ghana in 1962, published by the Chicago University Press, called The Mind of Africa, as you were told. He also wrote Ideologies in Contemporary Africa. Political Education is Essential. In 1964, he wrote 2 books. The Life and Times of Wilhelm Anton Amo, that was a great Nzimmerman, my brother, my sister. And this is a current photograph of William Emmanuel Kojo Abraham, very powerful man. He loves William Anton Amo. Oh my God. He's written more than 10 books, I beg your pardon. And his final book, before Nkrumah was overthrown, was called Kwame Relies on the Masses, the Nkrumahist. My brother, my sister, he has refused to credit himself with conscientism. 100% credited to Kwame Nkrumah. What a man. Any day you want to catch his attention, talk Nkrumahism. Today we remember you, Papa. Yes, we remember you, Papa. Why you be Papa? Papa, me say, why you be? We you kukudam, we you ketichie wate. Papa, yada was say. Thank you so much. A popular Ghanaian philosopher.